Bill O'Reilly here, Friday, November 11, 2022. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Here's what's happening this week in America. Donald Trump says the midterm vote will have no impact on whether he runs for president. More states legalize pot. Financial problems cause a spike in alcohol abuse. A new report ranks the fastest growing cities in the USA. Also ahead, update listeners sound off about the election. But first, Donald Trump touting tremendous wins on Election Day. The former president saying the vote will have no impact on whether or not he runs in 24. Quote, "There is fake news narrative that I was furious about the midterms. It's the opposite. The people I endorsed did very well. They did amazing. We had tremendous success. Why would I change anything?" Unquote. Mr. Trump may announce his campaign plans on November 15th. Voters in Missouri and Maryland passing new laws that legalize the sale of marijuana for recreational purposes. Another 12 million Americans can now buy pot the same way they purchase booze. Similar measures were shot down, rejected in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Arkansas. In total, 22 states now have legalized cannabis. The marijuana industry generates $10 billion every year. That is a lot of stoned people. More Americans turning to alcohol to cope. According to the RAND Corporation, 69% of men, 49% of women experience at least one alcohol-related problem this year. Researchers say the rise in addiction is because of financial instability. 7 in 10 workers say rising prices cause daily depression, insomnia, anxiety. The average household spending $200 per week more because of inflation, but buying booze is not going to help that, is it? CNBC listing the fastest growing cities in America. Towns are ranked by economic activity, construction, tourism, new residents. Top 5, Salt Lake City, Utah, Denver, Dallas, Charlotte, North Carolina, and the number 1 fastest growing place, Austin, Texas. Just 200,000 residents lived in Austin back in 1990. That figure has now risen to 1 million people this year. In a moment, update listeners have their say. Right back. Inflation at its highest level in 40 years and interest rates are skyrocketing, as you know. Market experts like Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, predicting recession. So to protect your future, do what I did. Call the only precious metal dealers I trust, American Hartford Gold. They will show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. You can get started with a short phone call. They will place physical gold and silver right at your door or inside your IRA or 401k. They are the highest rated firm in the country with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of satisfied clients. Please tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you and they'll give you up to $2,500 of free silver on your first order. Don't wait. You can call them now. 877-444-GOLD. 877-444-GOLD or text GOLD to 65532. Again, 877-444-GOLD or text GOLD to 65532. Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. Listeners sound off. We do this each Friday. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com. Name and town if you wish to opine. And by the way, BillO'Reilly.com is where we live. That is the center of our news operation. Of course, we do radio. You're listening to me right now. We do television. We write columns. We have all kinds of fun stuff on BillO'Reilly.com. You don't have to be a premium member to go there. You can just kind of drop on in. And I think you'll like it. I hope you do. So here is the mail. Greg, Boise, Idaho. Shame on Republicans. They had it handed to them on a platter. Crime, drugs, open borders, inflation. I mean, what the hell else could we possibly pour on how bad the country is right now? But Republicans did not take advantage of that. I disagree. Great. The message was out there that the Democratic Party is not helping Americans. Here's what it all came down to. Independent voters, which now decide elections in America, national elections, they broke for the Democratic Party by just 1 point, but that was enough. Now, I don't know why independent voters are ignoring the open border, violent crime, rampant inflation, the incompetency of Joe Biden. I don't know. I suspect it has something to do with Donald Trump, but I cannot say that with any certainty. But independent voters were the bloc that saved the Democratic Party this time around. Allen, Seattle, Washington. With victories by both Fetterman and Hochul, voters either don't care or don't see the problems around them, and the Republicans will never win certain blue states, including your own, Allen, Washington state. You're absolutely correct. Republicans will never win in California, in Illinois, in New York state, and others. But Democrats will never win now in Texas, in Florida, in most of the South. So there's a balance, but the tribes are dug in. Neil, Arlington, Texas. Republicans lost because of two things: the insurrection and abortion. People wanted an alternative and looked at the Republicans and said, they're worse. Something to that, Neil, particularly independent women voters. Abortion, I didn't think was going to be a crushing issue, but for many who voted against Republicans, it was. Now, the Republican Party had nothing to do with that. That was a Supreme Court decision. And January 6th is always going to be a problem. Chris, Simi Valley, California. With the Georgia runoff only 4 weeks away, is it wise for Donald Trump to announce his candidacy? I don't know whether it's wise. It doesn't really matter whether what I think or what you think, Chris. The man is going to do what he wants to do. I'm Bill O'Reilly, and I approve the message by putting it together. I hope you go to BillO'Reilly.com this weekend. You'll like it there. And I hope you consider my book, Killing the Legends. We'll be right back with something you might not know.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-925-7584 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-925-7584. That's 800-925-7584. What do you have to lose? Call 800-925-7584. Again, 800-925-7584.
Now, the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. On this day in 1918, one of the worst conflicts in human history came to an end. After 4 years of brutal combat, 9 million people dead, 21 million wounded, a continent almost destroyed, World War I ended. Here is the story. In the early 20th century, peace in Europe was achieved through a series of diplomatic alliances, but they were fragile. Political instability in the Balkans threatened the peace. On June 28, 1914, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, was assassinated in Bosnia by a Serbian. All hell broke loose all over Europe. Austria declared war on Serbia. Russia and France declared war on Austria. Germany declared war on France. England declared war on Germany. Presto, a world war. At the onset, many assumed that their country would be quickly victorious. They were wrong. The USA entered the war after the Germans torpedoed the passenger ship, the Lusitania, off the coast of Ireland. For the next few years, Europeans slaughtered each other by the millions. Soldiers were massacred from the air, land, and sea. Chemical weapons rained down on trenches. At least 100,000 troops were gassed to death on the fields of France. By the autumn of 1918, the Central Powers, led by Germany and Austria, had unraveled. Facing dwindling resources, eroding public support, and the surrender of allies, Berlin finally agreed to an armistice on November 11th. The warring parties signed the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, officially ending World War I. And here's something else you might not know. The Great War was so catastrophic, many believed it would usher in a new era of peace. Leaders formed organizations like the League of Nations to prevent future bloodshed. They were all mistaken. Exactly 20 years after the Treaty of Versailles, Hitler and Germany invaded Poland, starting World War II, a conflict that caused the death of 50 million people. Back after this.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention Marines, military personnel, families, and contractors who were stationed at Camp Lejeune. Were you present at Camp Lejeune between August 1953 and December of 1987? You may be entitled to significant compensation. For nearly 34 years, those in the Marine Corps' base Camp Lejeune were exposed to contaminated drinking water, resulting in devastating injuries, including several forms of cancer, adverse birth outcomes, Parkinson's disease, and more. North Carolina's procedural laws have prevented victims from getting the justice they deserve, but passage of the Camp Lejeune Justice Act of 2022 would allow you or a loved one to file lawsuit seeking compensation for illnesses and injuries linked to the toxic water. Call today for your free consultation. 800-484-3231. Let our experienced attorneys fight to get you the compensation you deserve, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call 800-484-3231. That's 800-484-3231. Again, 800-484-3231.
Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.